right, we will go ahead and get started. So welcome to class today. We will begin with some breathing and centering, move through a series of poses, and we will end with some rest. All right, so we're going to begin in a comfortable seated position. You can sit up on a blanket or a pillow if you would like. You can sit in any position that's comfortable for you. You can keep your eyes open or you can gently close them. We'll begin to lift the crown of the head up toward the ceiling, lift the lower belly to protect the spine. Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. Begin to relax the forehead, the temples. Let your tongue relax in your mouth. Release any tension in your jaw. Then we'll turn our attention to our breath, allowing our breath to flow smoothly in and out through our nose as much as is comfortable. And we'll begin to see if we can make an ocean sound with our exhale. So really feel the breath at the back of the throat as we exhale, seeing if we can make that exhale sound like the ocean. And as much as is possible, we will attempt to keep that ocean sounding breath throughout our practice this morning. Linking movement with breath, allowing ourselves to lengthen on the inhale and release and soften with the exhale. And with your eyes either opened or closed, you can begin to roll the shoulders back, making big circles or little circles. And we'll reverse, bringing the shoulders to roll forwards. Your eyes are closed, you can go ahead and open them. We'll set the arms at the side. On an inhale, we'll lift one arm up, and we'll exhale to stretch to one side. Inhale to grow tall, and exhale to lower the hand. Inhale, we'll lift the other arm, grow tall, and exhale to stretch to the other side. Inhale to grow tall, exhale to lower. See if we can keep both sitting bones grounded as we move with the breath slowly from side to side. Inhaling, feel our spine lengthen, and exhaling to gently stretch. And then we'll do one more on each side. We'll go ahead and do a little bit of a flow with the arms, connecting the breath. Inhaling to lift up and exhaling to bring your hands together at your heart. When you inhale to lift up, welcome to do a little bit of a back bend, pulling your chest up and forward, if that feels all right. And we'll do one more. Good. Bringing your hands to your knees, just gently look side to side. Tilt your head from side to side. And look up and down. Good. I'm going ahead to come onto hands and knees. You can put a blanket underneath your knees if you'd like, bringing your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. And go ahead and tuck the toes, and we're going to go into a cat-cow, bringing the chest forward, lifting the chin on the inhale. And as you lift the belly on the exhale, if you'd like to, you can lift your knees just a couple inches off the ground. Inhaling to pull the chest forward. Exhaling to lift the chest, and if you'd like, you can lift your knees just a couple inches. And go ahead and do a few flowing with your own breath. Good. Go ahead and come back to neutral. You can release the toes, and we'll do just some gentle circles with your rib cage, making like a circle with your belly button. You can make these as big or as small as feels good in your body, just warming up the spine. And go ahead and reverse and go the other direction. Good. We'll move into a balancing table. We'll begin by extending the left foot back on the balls of your foot, pressing the left hand firmly into the ground. You can lift the right arm so that it's parallel with the ground, and you can either keep that left foot on the ground or you can lift it up so that it is also parallel with the ground. Lift your lower belly and pull your fingers away from your heels, creating as much space between your right fingertips and your left heel. Keep that left hip from coming up too much, trying to keep both hips parallel to the ground. Good. And we'll go to the other side. Begin by extending the right foot back from the ball of your foot. And you can lift the left hand parallel to the ground. And you can stay right here, or you can float the right heel up so that it's about parallel with the ground as well. Again, pulling those fingers away from your heel to make as long of a line as possible. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply, seeing if you can still hear the sound of the ocean with your breath. And lower. We'll do that a few times, flowing with the breath, inhaling to lift up, exhale to lower, and switching to the other side. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Continue to pull the fingertips away from the heel that's lifted and press down through the hand that's on the ground. And we'll do one more on each side. Good. Go ahead and come into a child's pose, bringing your toes together, bringing your knees wide, hinging back in your hips and walking your hands forward. You can put a block or a pillow underneath your chest or your forehead. You can also put a blanket under or behind your knees. And crawl your fingertips forward, lifting your forearms up off the ground and bringing the outer upper part of your arm in towards your ears. And as we move into downward dog here in a moment, we want to try to feel that same feeling in our arms. Good. We'll go ahead and come up, tucking the toes, and we'll begin to come into downward dog, lifting the hips up and back. Pressing through your hands, making sure especially that thumb and pointer finger are rooted to the ground. You can gently pedal the feet. You're always welcome to keep your legs bent in downward dog. You can also have your feet as wide apart as feels okay in your body. Good. You go ahead and work your legs toward straight, continuing to pull the hips up and back and trying to keep the weight equally centered between your hands and your feet. On the next inhale, we'll move into plank, bringing your shoulders over your wrists. If you're pregnant or if you want the modification, you can drop your knees. And we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a plank downward dog flow. Exhaling to press back into dog and inhaling to come forward. If you'd like a little bit of an additional challenge, you can do a half push-up when you pull forward into plank, or you can just keep going between downward dog and plank, whichever you'd like. Good. Go ahead and hold downward dog for a moment. And bring your feet about as wide as your mat. Turn your heels in just a little bit. Walk your hands back, and we're going to come down into a squat. You can press your legs open with your elbows. If you need to be higher up or if you need to sit on a block or a chair, you're welcome to do that. Make sure that your spine is long. Nice line between your head and your hips. Take a couple breaths here, and then we'll do a little bit of a flow between the squat and the forward fold. So on your next inhale, bring the hands to the mat and straighten your legs just as much as you can to a fold. And then we'll exhale back down to squat. You can keep your hands down on the ground if you'd like. Inhaling to fold forward, exhaling to squat. When you come up to the forward fold, try to keep your weight pulling forward so your hips are not pulling back away from you. You can adjust your hands however you need to. And again, your legs do not have to come all the way to straight. Good. And the next time you're in a forward fold, we'll go ahead and hold there for a few moments. You can adjust your feet so that your toes are pointing forward. Legs can be as wide apart as you'd like. Bring the weight forward into the toes. Feel your thighs engaged, trying to lift them up away from your knees, towards your hips, letting your hamstrings release and go a little deeper. Take smooth, even breaths and see if you can feel yourself soften with each exhale. And on next inhale, bend your legs, root down through your feet, and come up to stand. Good. All right, turn to face the front of your mat. And we're going to do a sun salutation down through to a warrior sequence. So we'll move through it slowly the first time, and then we'll move with the breath the second time. So on an inhale, we'll sweep the arms up, and we'll exhale to fold forward. On your inhale, you'll pull the crown of your head forward, lift your chest. You can bring your arms up to your shins or your thighs. And on an exhale, you'll fold back down and step back with one foot and then the other. From here, you can lower to your knees. You can either move through the chaturanga or you can go straight back into downward dog. If you're going to move through the chaturanga, you can do it with your knees down or up. You'll bring your elbows straight back to lower all the way to the mat. Inhale to lift the chest. And exhale to press into downward facing dog. Good. On your next inhale, go ahead and step forward with your right foot, bringing it between your hands. If you need to take a couple extra steps, you can. And then we're going to go ahead and lower the left heel to the mat. Your left foot should be at about a 45-degree angle, and your left heel should be in alignment with your right heel. Right foot is pointing forward. We're going to move into a warrior one. So on your next inhale, press down through both feet, keeping the right foot bent. Go ahead and come up to warrior one. You might need to adjust your stance. In warrior one, we're going to work the left hip toward the front. It won't get all the way there. That's okay. Lift the inner arch of your left foot. Press down through both heels. Lift your lower belly away from your thigh. And we'll take a breath here. And from here, we'll transition into warrior two. So we'll circle the arms to the side, opening the chest to the front, and turning the left foot all the way to face the front. Right knee is bent at about a 45-degree angle, or about a 90-degree angle if you can get it that low. But it can be higher than that as long as your knee is over your heel and not extending beyond. You can turn and look over your right fingertips. Tuck the right hip underneath you so it's not pressing back. Right knee is pointing in the same direction as your right hands. And pull this left thigh up towards your hip. Your shoulders down and press evenly through both feet. From here, we'll transition into warrior three. Let's scooch back a little so I hit my wall. So for warrior three, we're going to turn the hips to face the side. So we'll come up on the ball of your left foot, hips facing forward. Hands can come forward or they can be on your hips. And you'll begin to shift the weight forward so that your right hip is over your right ankle. If you want, you can stay right here, or if you want to float the left foot up and go all the way into warrior three, you can do that. Try to keep that left hip down so it's not pulling up. It's a good idea to keep a bend in that right foot. Pull the right heel back away from you. Good. If you need to lower that foot, it's completely fine. And from here, we're going to transition into reverse warrior. So we're going to drop the left foot back down, open the hips back to the front, and we'll go from here to circling so that the left hand rest on the left leg. You're going to lift the right arm as high up towards the ceiling as you can, and then gently pull back toward the wall behind you. The lifting up is more important than the pulling back. You don't want to collapse through that left side. Again, pressing down evenly through both feet. And we'll circle the hands back down to the mat. Step the right foot back and press into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Go ahead and walk to the front of your mat. Feet can be as wide as you need. On an inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to rise up, and exhale, hands together at your heart. Very good. Take a couple breaths here, and then we're going to move through that on the same side, but we're going to flow with the breath. So each warrior sequence we will hold for only one breath. We'll move with the inhale and hold it for the exhale, then move into the next pose for the inhale. On your next inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to flat back. Exhale to step back. You can go through a chaturanga if you'd like, or you can press straight back into downward dog and take a couple extra breaths. Good. On your next inhale, step the right foot forward, land it between your hands, and circle your arms straight up into warrior one. Back foot at a 45-degree angle, left hip hugging forward. On the inhale, we'll open the arms, open the hip, open the foot into warrior two. Go ahead and take an exhale. On your next inhale, we'll turn and move into warrior three, bringing the weight forward. Lifting the foot or not, either way is fine. Exhale, inhale back into reverse warrior. Lifting up through the right side. And then circling the arms back to the mat, stepping back into downward dog. Take a breath, and then step or walk to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, and exhale, hands together at your chest. Good. Take a breath, and then we'll move through it once slowly on the left side. We'll inhale to sweep the arms up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, stepping back to plank. You can go through the chaturanga, or you can move right into downward facing dog. This time on the inhale, we'll step the left foot forward. Now turn that right heel down to the ground. Look at your right heel, make sure it is at a 45-degree angle, and that your left heel is in line with your right heel. And on the inhale, pressing through both feet, come up to warrior one. Try to bring that right hip toward the front. Lift the arch of your right foot. Pull your lower belly away from your thigh. Your shoulders relax. And breathe for a moment here. As we prepare to move into warrior two, we're going to circle the arms, turn the right toe out, and let your hips face forward or back if you're like I am. Again, try to keep that left knee over your left ankle. Keep the left hip hugging under, right thigh pulling up towards your right hip, arms pulling away from each other, looking over your left fingertips. Make sure your left knee is facing the short side of your mat and not collapsing in at all. And from here, we'll prepare for the transition to warrior three, turning the hips to face the front, coming up on the ball of your right foot, and we'll begin to shift the weight forward so that your left hip is over your left leg. You can keep your hands on your hips or float them out in front of you. You can keep that left foot bent, and you can stay up on your foot, or if you're feeling stable, you can lift it up. You might wobble a little bit, that's completely fine. Gotta pull that right heel back away from you and keep that right hip in line with the left hip. Good. And then we'll lower the foot, let the right toes face the back again, circling the arms into reverse warrior, letting the right hand rest on your right leg, left arm is pulling up first and then back, not collapsing into the right side. Just take a breath here. And then we'll circle back down, step the foot back and back into downward facing dog. Take a breath and then step or walk to the front of your mat. Inhaling to lengthen, bringing the chest forward. Exhale to fold. Inhale to sweep your arms up, and exhale, bring your hands together at your chest. Take a couple slow breaths here, and we'll move through that a little bit more quickly, doing just one breath for each of the warrior poses. On the next inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, go ahead and step back. You can go through the chaturanga or press back into downward dog. On your next inhale, bring that left foot forward, placing it between your hands. Go ahead and lower the right heel and come up to warrior one. Pulling the right hip forward, lifting the arch, pressing through both heels. Go ahead and open into warrior two. Exhale. And on the inhale, turn both hips forward, shift the weight forward and move into your warrior three, whatever version works for you. Exhale, and then inhale back to reverse warrior, lifting through that left side. Exhale, circle the arms back down and step back into downward dog. Good. One more breath here. Walk or step to the front of your mat. Inhale to flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, and exhale. Bring your hands together at your chest. Very good. All right. We're going to do just a little bit of a hip opening flow standing. So we're going to face forward. You can just leave your hands on your hips for this, or you can use your right hand to support your right knee. So we're going to inhale to bring the knee forward and exhale to open to the side. As you open, try to keep your pelvis facing forward. Inhale to bring the foot back in. Exhale to lower. Then we'll switch sides. Inhale to bring the knee forward. Exhale to open. Inhale, bring it back to the front. Exhale to lower. Good. Other side. Inhale to lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, back to the front. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, keep the pelvis forward. Inhale, back in. Exhale, one more time on each side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, back to front. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale, open. Inhale, and lower. Very good. All right, we're going to go ahead and do tree pose for a little bit of a balance. So shift your weight onto your left foot. Go ahead and turn the right foot out. You can keep it down on the ground. You can put it on your calf, or you can lift it to your left inner thigh. Hands can be on your hips, together at your heart, or floating up overhead. If you'd like a little bit of an extra balance challenge, I was trying this earlier, it is a little challenging, but you can, with the breath, go ahead and stretch from side to side with the breath. And we'll challenge your balance. So you're welcome to just stay in neutral. Good. Let's take one more breath here. Good. Bring the knee forward and lower. Shift the weight into the right foot. Roll out that left foot. Make sure you go both directions. Good. And then you can turn that left foot out. It can be on the ground, at your calf, or up at your inner thigh. Hold the crown of your head up. Find a focal spot for your eyes. Find the position that your hands want to be in today. And if you'd like to try leaning from side to side, you're welcome to do that. Good. Do one more breath. And go ahead and bring that left knee in, lower, and gently roll out the right foot, circling it in both directions. All right, going back to the front of the mat, we're going to do a partial sun salutation to get down into downward facing dog one last time. So inhale to sweep your arms up, exhale to fold forward. Inhale to flat back, exhale, step down. You can go straight back into dog, or you can lower one last time through your chaturanga to cobra, pressing back into downward dog. I'm going to try to hold downward dog for about 5 breaths. Feel your hips pulling up and back. So your fingers are spread wide and all 10 fingers are pressing into the mat. Working the heels toward the mat, lifting your thighs. Squeezing those upper inner arms in and letting your breath be as smooth as possible. One last breath. Good. Lower your knees and go ahead and come into a child's pose. This time you can let your arms relax. They can be down at your side or overhead, but let them be relaxed. And take a few breaths in child's pose. Good. Walk your hands up. We'll go ahead and bring your knees together and sit on your heels. Your heels can open to the side. If this is uncomfortable for you, you're welcome to sit in easy pose with your legs crossed. We're going to go ahead and do an eagle arm back bend from here. So we're going to bring the right arm to a 90-degree angle. Wrap the left arm underneath and then turn your palms to face one another. If eagle arms is not accessible for you, you're welcome to wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a big hug. So find the position in your arms that works for you. On an inhale, feel yourself grow tall. And on an exhale, we'll lift the elbows, lift the chest forward and up, and do a back bend just in the upper back. And then we'll lower the elbows back down to rest for a moment. Take a deep breath. And inhale to lift up, lifting the elbows, the chest, the chin, but keeping your lower belly lifted so that you're keeping this back bend as much in your upper back as possible. And lower. Good. Release your arms. And then lift your left hand to a 45-degree angle. If you're hugging, just switch the wrap of your arms. Right arm circles underneath and turn your palms to face each other if they can. Feel yourself grow tall. And then lift your elbows, pull your chest forward and let your chin lift. Good. And lower. Take a breath and we'll do that one last time. Feel yourself grow tall. Lift your elbows, lift your chest and your chin. And release. Very good. All right, we're going to move into frog pose. So from here, we'll come forward into tabletop. And we'll go ahead and bring the knees as wide as they'd like to go. Toes open to either side. Wrists over shoulders. And then if you've got the space, you can lower so that your elbows are over your or under your shoulders and interlace your hands in front of you. Try to keep your hips from falling too far back. They should be about in line with your knees. Take a few breaths here. Let gravity gently bring your hips closer to the ground, seeing if you can release just a little bit on each exhale. One last breath here. Good. Press back into your palms, bring your knees about as wide as your mat. Bring your big toes together and go back one last time into child's pose. Very good. Coming up into sit, you can swing your feet around, and we're going to bring the soles of our feet together into a bound angle pose. If you'd like to sit back up on your folded blanket or pillow, you're welcome to do so. So bringing the soles of your feet together, feeling the crown of your head pull up, you can put your hands behind you to help your spine grow tall. On an inhale, get as tall as you can, and on an exhale, allow yourself to fold forward. On your next inhale, come back up. Maybe adjust your feet, either bringing them farther away from you or bringing them in closer. Inhale to grow tall and exhale to fold forward. come back up, and we're going to do a wide angled seated forward bend. So bring your feet out, bring them as wide as you like. See if you can flex the feet. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, you're welcome to do that. You're also welcome to, like in bound angle, put your hands behind you to help keep your spine nice and long. You can stay right here if this is enough of a stretch for you, or if you'd like, you can gently allow your hands to walk forward. Again, feel those thighs pulling toward your hips, allowing those hamstrings to release. See if you can soften just a little bit with each exhale. Try to bring symmetry to your inhales and your exhales. Hold for just a couple more breaths. And then you can walk yourself back up to neutral. And we're going to go ahead and lay down flat on your back with your legs extended straight out in front of you. So we're going to do some circles with our legs, and you can keep your legs bent or straightened, whatever feels good to you. See if you can pull your tailbone toward your heels to feel your lower back release as much as possible to the ground. Now start with the right foot. You can go ahead and point your toes, and we're going to bring the right foot out to the side. Again, you can have your leg bent if you like. Then we're going to lift it straight up and then lower it. Bring it straight out to the side, lift it straight up and lower it. Again, feel free to bend that leg. Whichever feels better for you. Try to keep that lower back pressing down to the ground as much as possible. And we'll do one more on this side. Good. And we'll go to the other side. Bring the left foot out to the side, lifting it straight up and bringing it back down. You can move at a pace that feels good for you. You don't want to go too fast with these. Let's do two more on this side. And last one. Very good. Go ahead and bend your legs. Extend the right foot straight up. And then bend it to cross it over the left. With your lower back still pressing down into the ground, you can put some gentle pressure on your right inner thigh. Or if you'd like, you can interlace your hands behind your left foot, bringing your left knee in toward your chest while pulling your right foot away from you to the wall opposite you. So bringing the left knee in and bringing the right knee away. Go ahead and keep your feet flexed in this pose that protects your knee. It's a good time to reconnect with that ocean sounding breath if you've lost it. See if you can make the sound of the ocean with each exhale. And release. Straighten the right foot and then lower it. Straighten the left leg. Cross it over the right. Again, you're welcome to stay right here, or you can interlace, pulling the right knee in towards your chest. And release. And straighten both legs. We'll do a little bit of a wind release. We'll pull first the right knee into your chest. You're welcome to have it out to your side or to have it a little farther away from you. Just pull it into wherever feels comfortable in your body. Pull that left heel away from you, flexing that left foot. And we'll switch side, straightening the right, bringing the left knee into your chest, pulling the right heel away from you. Bring both knees in, and we'll move into a happy baby pose. So you can put your hands behind your knees and stay right here. Or if you can reach your feet, you can wrap your hands around the outside of each foot and bringing the knees to either side of your rib cage, pulling straight down. See if you can pull your tailbone toward the opposite wall. It may not be lying completely flat on the ground. Just pull it toward the wall opposite you. Good. And release with both feet bent. We'll just gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side. You can keep these small, just a little gentle massage for your lower back. Good. And we'll move into our resting pose. So if you're pregnant, you can go ahead and roll over onto your left side. Find a comfortable position supported with pillows or blankets or whatever you have that you can use to make yourself comfortable. Otherwise, you can choose to either keep your legs bent with your heels spread about mat width, or if your lower back is feeling okay, you can straighten both legs and let your palms turn up toward the ceiling, bringing your shoulder blades together underneath you. Allow your body to feel heavy do your own brief body scan and see if you notice any place that you're holding tension, where you might be able to release and relax, allowing your body to be weighted and allowing the floor beneath you to support you. You can keep your eyes open, or if you're feeling comfortable closing your eyes, you're welcome to close them. And we're going to turn our attention just for a few minutes to a couple of our senses. First, we're going to attune ourselves to whatever we hear. So with gentle attention and without straining, just take a couple minutes to notice what you hear. Maybe briefly naming each thing you hear. Maybe you hear a car. Maybe you hear a family member or an appliance running. Maybe you hear some music. Just take a moment to notice whatever you hear. And I invite you now to turn your awareness to what you feel. To just briefly name anything you feel. So maybe you feel cold floor beneath you. Maybe you feel a soft carpet, a mat. Maybe you feel tension or an itch. Maybe you feel warmth. I invite you to take a couple minutes here. Turn your attention to what you feel and briefly name any sensation that you notice. And I invite you now to gently relax your attention. And gently wiggle your fingers and toes. If your eyes were closed, whenever you're ready, you can open them. And slowly roll over onto your left side, pressing gently with your palms to come back up to a comfortable seated position. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll look forward to practicing with you again soon.